Hello everybody, welcome yourselves back to Tank Mechanics in. Today we're going to be doing the mighty PANZER IIC. I know, but if you don't like, comment and subscribe, Mr. Sandy Fingers will come and basically blow them off. I've been told what horror stories there are of people doing sandblasting and sandblasting chambers. Anyway, I'm not going to spare you from that. I've recently redecorated the whole entire place. I think it pops up a bit better. Looks a little more fresh and looks a lot tidier and cleaner. I'm going to show you my workshop and museum. So, this is my museum. I already have a PANZER IIC, so that's not really an issue, but I wanted to restore one for video's sake, and there is the mouse from the last episode. Thank you very much for the support on that one. If you haven't seen that episode, or those episodes, you can find them up in the cards right now. Of course, my trusty old Tiger. You've got your PANZER IV, followed by the PANZER III. We're still on the left and the Panther, and then the SDKFC and the PANZER III Alps J. Inside my warehouse here, we've got a few projects that I want to actually do. Starting off with the Vickers Type E, the Panther, the KV2, the Greyhound, and then a half-track. Now, I've already restored some of these vehicles. I haven't restored a KV2 on channel. I think that'll be fantastic, and I haven't restored a Panther on channel either. So again, content to come in the near future, I suppose. Right, and now, how to restore this little bastard. So, first and foremost, the PANZER IIC is quite an interesting vehicle. It was very early war, right? It's possibly the earliest designation of vehicle you can possibly have. I'll fix up the welding spots while I'm at it, first and foremost. Let me just go and have a look. Okay, we've got the big rolling wheels on this machine, and there are a couple of holes on the back, but aside from that, we're really good. So this vehicle is about 8.9 tons. You know, typical car or truck sort of size. It's got 2cm L55 autocannon, 7.92 MG34 as a coaxial. You know, maximum thickness is about 16mm of armor, with 5mm being the rarest. But let me show you the crafting table here. The crafting table allows you to craft new parts of the tanks, and each part has its own crafting cost, etc. But in order to have this, and this upgrade panel and room, you need to really have the blueprints for the vehicles. So, while I might have 4,600 parts, it costs an absolute arm and a leg in order to get the parts required to get the blueprints, so that way you can actually craft the componentry. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to buy the parts for this one. I wanted to play this one a little bit differently. So if I go over to the Tiger, and I request that I can get the buy the tank blueprints, right? It's going to cost me an arm and a leg. I don't currently have that kind of funds just sitting around, so yeah, you're looking at quite a lot there. Regardless, let's get on with the job at hand. The max range of this thing is 190 kilometers. They've made 75 vehicles of this. It's relatively rare in terms of German standards. Max speed of about 25 mile an hour or 40 kilometers. Got a 6-cylinder water-cooled 140 horsepower gasoline/petrol engine. And, you know, this is basically about the same size as a small family car with a few extra steps, a crew of 3. The length of the vehicle is about 4.81 meters. The width is 2.2 meters, and the height is almost 2 meters as well. So, you know, nothing to write home about. And it's really small. I was surprised how quickly this got done. This machine didn't take me hardly any time, although it did take a little bit. Derustifying absolutely every surface as we possibly can. Something satisfying about doing that in this game. Running around, cleaning parts up. There we go, some of the antenna ports. Fantastic. And now the engine and bay at the rear. I think we've got everything. Yeah, I think we've got everything. Right, now let's move the engine and the turret away, and then we'll go and restore those components separately. Right, so, the PANZER II. Very small vehicle, but this version, the Alpha C, was only ordered to keep the factories busy until the PANZER III was ready for the mass production. And so the only visible difference is a new improved vision port, and had several different bolts, as well as a couple of other modifications, but nothing really to write home about again. So, we're going to go down to sandblasting, and then we're going to go paint the vehicle up, and hopefully we can then just assemble the bastard, because again, this won't take too long. This will take maybe 20 minutes. Hold on, I've forgotten to do that one piece. Alright, cue the time lapse. Right, we're going to go buy the rest of the remaining parts. So we've got option to craft elements or buy them. We're going to have to buy them. Oh man, $69,000. Oof. That's a blow to my budget. Alright, we're just going to have to do it because ultimately we will be selling this vehicle because I've already got one in the collection. Alright. Interesting fact about this particular version, right? They've changed shape over time and upgraded during the operational life. And in 1941, they were fitted with a ricochet splash plate and a dummy cone-shaped periscope to be in the front of the commander's hatch. So this version doesn't necessarily have that, but the additional armor added to the front hull and changed the look from a curved armored hull to an angular shape. Which is why this particular version looks so cute when compared to its other variants. Anyway, these vehicles essentially were sent to Normandy and the Eastern Front. And in 1944, the remaining 38 light tanks were recorded as issued to the reserve of the Panzer Corps in Normandy to use for training and reconnaissance work. They were all lost in Normandy during the fighting in 44. Right, gonna do those up. It's like a mini game, this one. Alright, we've got the ignition wires on, and now we just have to... Hang on, there's something missing. It's only 88, well 98% done. What? Alright, let's go have a look at the analytics, and we'll have... Where's engine? There it is. Ah, I've forgotten the dipstick, you dipstick. Oh, thank goodness that analytics page is there. That was a pain. Putting on all the tracks, you have no idea how much of a pain that was. Also, fun fact, a lot of the D and E variants of the Panzer IIs got converted into flamethrower tanks. As the music ends abruptly. But yeah, we've just completed the tracks. We're now doing the external componentries. We've done everything in the turret that got basically restored when we basically did everything on the vehicle. The turret process itself wasn't too hard. There is a manual traverse. There isn't any hydraulic assist. It doesn't have a turret basket, so we didn't have to worry about any of those kind of things. But, you know, for a 20mm gun, there are other variants. The Panzer II Alpha G, which gets a bit weird. They have a completely redesigned turret. And there are further variants of such, in which went into the whole entire development for the process of the light tank core. Germany is quite interesting because they really liked having these vehicles really armoured. There's a Panzer II Alpha J, which essentially is a further development and different ideas put into one. Ending in the Lukes, or the Lynx. Really, the Panzer II was just the start for the means of the end, really. And by 1944, these vehicles were woefully outdated. Mind you, at that point, Germany was scrambling for absolutely everything. Perfectly fine in 1944, but not exactly, usable in tank combat, which had advanced past that initial 1939 stage. Installing a couple of brake pedals and a couple of the installations in here. Got all of the interior to do yet, and I've got a heap of other work I need to do in here. The transmission in this particular vehicle is really just annoying. As you can see, there's a lot of white lines, a lot of boxes, and a lot of things you have to put in. So I'm going to do the rest of the vehicle as much as I possibly can before going to do that. Look, you've got different ammo clasps and locker doors and power suppliers, and this is just... it's a little tedious in a way. Some telegraph wire. There is also just different things everywhere. I know I'm missing bits and pieces here, but we'll get it done eventually. Alright, as long as the major components are in, we can go back and check the analytics later and then be able to find out what parts are needed where. Because ultimately I want to sell this at 100%, that way we get maximum money for our bang. Evacuation hatch, put in the battery, cooling pipes. Alright, put in the fan and the intercoolers. As well as, what do we need? The starter-wise, those are very important. Again, I've already restored the engine, I'll just need to install it in the machine. Alright, put the cover on. And get the pulley, and then the belt. I don't think I need a belt there. Yes, because that's what belts do. They you put in everything else first before putting the engine in, actually. Alright, hang on. Am I missing anything? I don't think I am. Oh, we've got the gearbox selector yet. Bloody hell. Oh, this is going to take 60 years. Right, well, after that, after basically checking the analytics, we can put the turret and the engine back in, and then I think we're done. So the gearbox was the last major thing to do. There were a couple of other parts regarding the battery and the radio, but other than that, we're now 100%, which means the tank value is 98,000, which means we only made a profit of around 40-ish thousand, or just under 38, actually. So, for what it's worth, this machine is practically done. And there, look, she looks good now, doesn't she? I will tell you that the total time for restoration was 32 minutes. So if you have half an hour and you want to make a quick buck, 40k isn't too bad for something that's so small. There are only a handful of these vehicles left in the world, and their sale price, according to the Israeli military market, is about $1.2 million a pop. So, back in 1939, it may have been worth even less than that, but again, military technology, top secret comrade, blah 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 blah. You know, totally not an agricultural tractor and all that. Anyway, it's time to go sell the vehicle now, so we shall do that right away. Let's see, go over here, go to analytics, go over here, and sell tank. Right, thank you very much for watching today. We're going to restore some other things coming up on the channel soon, and hopefully we turn them into multi-part series rather than just single vehicles. I will see you in a video soon. Let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.